So, we're talking about the Mattachine Family, which is an American comedy drama directed by Andy Vallentine. It's a reference, or the title is a reference to the Mattachine Society, which was a gay rights organisation founded way back in the 50s by a man called Harry Hay. His goal was to create greater acceptance of homosexuality. Raj is here. We are both on film. Thank you very much for coming back. Please do like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We do lots of movie reviews, so check out some of our previous ones, and we'll link to one at the end of this video. All the details down below, of course, in the description as well. So, a comedy drama starring a great cast. I think one of these actors you know, Raj.
Yeah, Nico Tortorella, quite a famous American actor. Just turned alternative pop musicians.
It's a great cast, like I said. One, Pablo de Pace as well. Emily Hampshire's in it. I love Emily Hampshire. She's great in Schitt's Creek, of course. That's what she's most famous for, I think, in the last few years, maybe. But she was in a really good film with Sigourney Weaver called Snowcake. Have you seen Snowcake? Came out, I think, about 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
No, I don't recall, but always happy to check something new out. So
she's fantastic in that, and Sigourney Weaver's really good as well, and playing something completely different to, I think, what she's done before. But anyway, let's talk about this. This is the Mattachine Family. It's about Thomas and Oscar, who are a gay couple. They spent a year as foster parents to a 6-year-old boy whose mother was in jail. She's released, regains custody of her son. Thomas and Oscar then forced to confront their very different visions for what they want out of life when they find themselves in disagreement on whether to pursue true parenthood. So I think story-wise, we've seen something kind of similar. We saw a film about a year ago. Was it Our Son with
Billy Porter?
Billy Porter. But I think this is a much better story. So let's talk about it. Let's dissect.
Well, I immediately thought of Our Son. I mean, I really like the fact that there's more of these sort of gay parenting stories coming out. So yeah, when I watched it, I was like, oh, wow. Is it going to be the same as Our Son? Is it all going to end in tragedy? Is it, what's the real baseline here? And I kind of agree with you, Phil. I thought it was kind of a much better story than Our Son. I hate to compare the two because it's so I don't want them to compete against each other, but the fact that we're getting more stories outside like this that are focusing on chosen family and alternative families and the adoption process and how difficult that can be. And in this case, it's foster families, and how kind of difficult it can be because, you do get attached to the kids that you're fostering.
And I think Our Son touched on, obviously similar story-wise in the fact that it was a gay couple bringing up a child and cracks start to appear in their relationship, and it's very similar with this film. But I think this is a much more nuanced film. I think there's a lot more going on, and I think it's a story that's told in a stronger way than Our Son. I wasn't mad on Our Son. I think we both agreed that it wasn't that strong a movie at the time.
Yeah, I think Our Son really just focused on the cracks in the relationship. But, what I really liked about Mattachine Family is, it gave enough time for the supporting characters to actually have a meaningful role in the story. So I loved all the supporting characters. Most of them were women, actually. It kind of highlights the fact that, it's not just about gay men parenting. It's also the women around these people's lives that, have significant importance in helping raise a family and showing our whole community what a family can be.
The women are very strong in this movie. They're a very strong link, I think, for the lead characters. But I've got to say, Nico Tortorella, fantastic. Nico Tortorella,
yes.
Yeah, brilliant in the lead role. And I think portrays the character with a real kind of sense of sensitivity and humour as well. There's a lot of comedy in this. It is billed, I think, as a comedy drama. I think it's leaning more towards drama because obviously there are kind of serious subject matters and it's a sensitive story. But I think that, there's a lot of lightheartedness in it, which is really touching. And I think people can relate to that.
Absolutely. And I've always been a fan of Nico Tortorella's work. Risen up among the ranks as sort of one of Hollywood's leading non-binary actors. It's such a staunch promoter of defining what non-binary means for the community.
Really likeable. And I think his partner, his husband, less so. But I think there's a reason for that because obviously his husband has more issues with where the relationship is going. So you kind of, well, I did personally, I tended to like him less because I really felt for Nico's character in this. He plays a photographer as well, and I loved the fact that his photographs were used to tell the story, because we see a lot of images, his photographs of characters that aren't necessarily in the movie, but the story obviously features those characters, so they're telling the story through those pictures, and I thought that was really clever, and it was a nice touch, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of people this might be a hard sell of a movie, unless you or me, who were just waiting for it to come out, like, when's the release date, and they just kind of dropped it over here on the streaming services. But it might be a hard sell if you're not thinking too much about this type of content, but if you are a fan of like just really good storytelling and just nice visuals, you'll be fully engulfed in a story. I kind of wanted to watch it again after I saw it the first time, so I just really enjoyed it. I'm definitely adding it to my Blu-ray collection.
Lots of really good references to queer culture as well. There's one scene where the couple are in a gallery. They're in an art gallery photograph. I think it might have been his gallery, actually, his exhibition. And they're discussing how gay life is portrayed in the mainstream. And obviously, lots of cliches in that. And gay men often seen as being into S&M and leather. And it was a really interesting discussion from both sides about what they think, how they think gay culture is represented.
This is what gay people are like. Some. And some are stubborn. I'm a Taurus.
It was good. It was good to see gay couples talking about that in a movie.
How can we be one thing when we're expected to be everything?
Yeah, I mean, in our culture, we can be miscategorized as often as, party people, we like to go out and have fun, very sexually overt, and this film definitely doesn't disagree with that, but it just captures also the human side of our community and the wanting to create a family, which we don't have enough stories like this. So it's just nice to see that they're starting to percolate and they're starting to make their way into our media now, because we need new storytelling in our genre.
It felt very real to me as well. I mean, there are some films that touch on similar story that have been done before that don't feel as genuine, and this felt like it was coming from a good place. And I think it's based on their relationship, isn't it? I think the director and his husband, it's kind of semi-autobiographical, maybe, parts of it. Interesting.
And, although Pablo's character, it may be a little unlikable just because of his role. I mean, it's a complete 360 from what you've probably seen him in, which is Fuller House, where he's the complete opposite, fun-loving, humorous, eye candy of, a very mainstream show. So, for that I definitely take my hat off to him for showing a different side to his acting ability as well. So I want to see him in more stuff, actually. So.
And Emily Hampshire is playing a friend that I think you want to have as a friend yourself. I mean, I felt like that personally. I was like, I would love to have a friend like her.
I would just love to be their neighbor in their own little universe, because I think the little narrative and the bubble that they created in that story is just absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
And anytime Dawn Wiener makes an appearance, Heather, that's the actress's name, that just makes me giggle. So
star rating. I really loved it. I enjoyed it right from the start. There were no moments of it that I felt fidgety or bored. It captivated me, and it kind of went in different directions as well. And I think visually it did end up in a lot of places. I think sometimes films, I'm not going to suggest this is low budget, but it takes you everywhere.
Absolutely. And you'll appreciate this, Phil. Nico Tortorella was in the Scream franchise. So
yes, of course.
So that little ode to horror there.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. I thought the acting was really good. 4 stars.
Yeah, 4 stars for me too. Absolutely.
So it's the Mattachine Family. It's available on Peccadillo Pod. We're checking out Peccadillo Pod, actually. I think, they release a lot of good films. You were talking about them recently. We have covered a lot of films with reviews from Peccadillo before, and I think this is definitely a strong one.
Yeah, they're our buddies over there. Everything that they put out, we pretty much have to see because it's good stuff.
Amazon Prime, catch it on that as well, Apple TV and Google Play. Good to see Raj. I'm sure there are going to be many more films coming up, and we've got one on the screen at the moment, so check out the review. And thank you for watching, everyone. See you on the next one.